Good morning. Welcome to worship from Nora, Unitarian Universalist Church, coming to you again from the study in the parsonage. It's good to know so many of you are here joining us from other places in Brown County, throughout Minnesota, and other states as well. Our chalice lighting words this morning were freely adapted and expanded from Adele Smith Penniman, and the benediction comes from Charles Howe. Brooke is on vacation this week, but she'll be back December 1st. She makes regular deposits. Your pledge checks and other donations may be sent to the church address. Who is that creature, and who does he want? Me, I trust. I do not attempt to call out his name for fear he will tread on me. What do you believe, he asks. That we all want to be alone, I reply, except when we do not. That the world was open to my sorrow and ate most of it. That today is a gift, and I am ready to receive you. Oh, creative flame, dancing in the chalice of our faith, quicken our spirits when we fear, warm us where pain resides, burn away dross of petty concerns, borrowed worry, manufactured indignation, and transform our mistaken, self-claimed dull drabness into our birthright shining majesty, all to the glory of the love that holds us. Joy and woe are woven fine, wrote William Blake, and when this we rightly know, safely through the world we go. Because we daily live the truth in the poet's words, whenever we gather together to worship, however we gather together to worship, we speak aloud or type or hold in the container of our community, our joys and our sorrows. Dick and Karen write that they're sharing the joy this morning of each other's COVID avoidance thus far, and they express their wishes for everyone's good health. My brother-in-law has a sorrow this week. His sister, Sherry Cook, has died. Those who have died of COVID and those who will die in the next hour, the next day, the next week, we hold in the light of this community. And those whose mental health is imperiled by isolation, and for the unlikely joy of technology. And I'm reminded by my tech assistant, speaking of technology, that they are now a permitted driver, and that is a great joy in our family. For all of our joys and our sorrows, for those that you're typing even now into the comments on Facebook Live, let us hold a space in our hearts as we enter a spirit of meditation. The words of meditation this morning come from Alberto Rios. When giving is all we have. One river gives its journey to the next. We give because someone gave to us. We give because nobody gave to us. We give because giving has changed us. We give because giving could have changed us. We have been better for it. We have been wounded by it. Giving has many faces. It is loud and quiet, big though small, diamond in wood nails. Its story is old, the plot worn and the pages too. But we read this book anyway, over and again. Giving is first and every time hand to hand, mine to yours, yours to mine. You gave me blue and I gave you yellow. Together we are simple green. You gave me what you did not have, and I gave you what I had to give. Together we made something greater from the distance. Something greater from the difference. Amen. All of the music today comes from our gray hymnal and is played by Sally Hanson. The hymn numbers and the sources of the readings were all in the order of service that I emailed to Nora Church members and that I also posted on Facebook last night. Our first reading this morning, the now familiar words from Edna St. Vincent Millay, Thanksgiving, 1950. Hard, hard it is this anxious autumn to lift the heavy mind from its dark forebodings, to sit at the bright feast and with ruddy cheer give thanks for the harvest of a troubled year. The clouds move and shift, withdraw to new positions on the hills. The sky above us is a thinning haze, a patch of blue appears. We yearn toward the blue sky as toward the healing of all our ills. But the storm has not gone over. The clouds come back. The blue sky turns black, and the muttering thunder suddenly crashes close, and once again flashes of lightning startle the rattling window pane. Then once more pours and splashes down the cold, discouraging rain. Ah, but is it right to feast in a time so solemn? Should we not rather fast and give the day to prayer? Praying, yes. Fasting, no. Soldier and citizen alike, we are a marching column, and how long the march may be and over what terrain we do not know, nor how much hardship and hunger, how much of pain we may be called upon to endure, and fortitude takes muscle and needs food. Never more dear than in a thoughtful hour like this are the faces about the table. Each stands out more sharply than before and is looked at with a longer glance. And smiles are deep from behind the eyes and somewhat quizzical, lest they go too far in tenderness. God bless the harvest of this haggard year. Pity our hearts that did so long for peace. Deal with us kindly. There are many here who love their fellows, and may their tribe increase. But cunning and guile persist. Ferocity empowers the lifted arm of the aggressor. The times are bad. Let us give thanks for the courage that was always ours, and pray for the wisdom which we never had. This is nothing new. That we should be attacked while we are napping, is it not always so? And dazed and unprepared, start to act, rubbing our eyes, not knowing where to go. Yet the trained hand does not forget its skill, nor can we lay precision and speed aside. Strength we have, and courage, and a settling will, a timorous vigilance, but a brave pride. From the apprehensive present, from a future packed with unknown dangers, monstrous, terrible, and new, let us turn for comfort to this simple fact. We have been in trouble before, and we came through. Our second reading, America I Sing Back, is by Allison Adele Hedge Koch. Ms. Koch identifies as Huron, Métis, French Canadian, Portuguese, English, Irish, Scots, and mixed Southeastern Native. She dedicates America I Sing Back for Phil Young, my father, Robert Hedge Koch, Whitman, and Hughes. America, I sing back what sung you in. Sing back the moment you cherished breath. Sing you home into yourself and back to reason. Oh, before America began to sing, I sung her to sleep, held her cradle board, wept her into day. My song gave her creation, prepared her delivery, held her severed cord beautifully beaded. My song helped her stand, held her hand for first steps, nourished her very being, fed her, placed her three sisters strong. My song comforted her as she battled my reason, broke my long-held footing sure, as any child might do. Lo, as she pushed herself away, forced me to remove myself as I cried this country, My song grew roses in each tear's fall. My blood-veined rivers painted pipestone quarries, circled canyons, while she made herself maiden fine. Oh, but here I am, here I am, here I remain high on each and every peak, carefully rumbling her great underbelly, prepared to pour forth singing. And sing again I will, as I have always done, never silenced unless in the company of strangers, singing the stoic face, polite repose, polite while dancing deep inside, polite mother of her world, sister of myself. When my song sings aloud again, when I call her back to cradle, call her to peer into waters, to behold herself in dark and light, day and night, call her to sing along, call her to mature, to envision, then she will make herself over. My song will make it so. When she grows far past her self-considered purpose, I will sing her back, sing her back. I will sing. Oh, I will. I do. America, I sing back. Sing back what sung you in. Here end the readings. For most of my adult life, at least, I've listened to Unitarian Universalists and other progressive types wax poetically and sometimes, not always, self-righteously about how Thanksgiving is their favorite holiday. Hands down, no competition, because A, it is quintessentially American, B, it is non-religious, and C, it is non-commercial. And for all these years, I've pretty much let them wax on, despite the facts, which are A, false, B, false, C, okay, technically true, but let's talk about indulgence and overconsumption. As much as I like precision and accuracy and, quite frankly, challenging, sloppy, easy theology, I've preferred to state and restate at least 20 different ways over the years the same message. Gratitude and the expression of gratitude, that is, giving thanks, are good for our souls and our spirits. And having a day set aside each year as a sort of intensive skills review is a good thing too. More recently, however, a second sentiment toward Thanksgiving has been murmuring its way through UU and other progressive circles, or at least among the clergy and religious leaders. Murmuring, what resources do you have for Day of Mourning? We're celebrating or observing un-Thanksgiving this year. What are the best kids' books for debunking the whole Disney fairy tale 1950s elementary school Thanksgiving story still taught in 2020 elementary schools and picture books? My white privilege and comfortable seat at the table of white supremacy culture are fighting hard against this one, digging in their heels, insisting that everybody within the reach of my voice already knows the truth about the myth of the first Thanksgiving, protesting that it's good enough that I seldom base a Thanksgiving Sunday sermon on that myth, that it's better than good enough that a lifetime ago in a Thanksgiving Day sermon in a joint Unitarian Universalist African Methodist Episcopal worship service, I went into some detail about the fallacies of that myth. And, most of all, see my reason above for not arguing about the reasons so many middle-class white liberals love Thanksgiving. That gratitude and expressions of gratitude are good for our spirits and our souls, and an annual booster shot, as it were, is vital. And besides, the hymns are so lovely. And besides, hard it is this anxious autumn, to lift the heavy mind from its dark foreboding, to sit at the bright feast and with ruddy cheer give thanks for the harvest of a troubled year. And because it is so hard, we need it more than ever, my annual sermon on gratitude and giving thanks. Thanks anyway. Thanks despite it all. I need the discipline of writing it, and you probably need to hear it. Can't the awkward and painful and necessary truth-telling about Thanksgiving wait for another, more convenient year? But someone recently said in a couple sermons I heard or maybe wrote, the folks at the margins, forgotten or oppressed or otherwise harmed by white supremacy culture, can't wait for what may come to pass soon or next year. And the hard and ongoing work is up to us, as it has always been. And it's time to paint our masterpiece at last. In other words, good enough is not good enough, and another year is too late. One of the flaws in simply setting aside the myth of the first Thanksgiving in order to concentrate on abundance and gratitude is that ignoring the history of genocide means ignoring the current devastating legacies of genocide and failing to understand the present paradoxical reality that Native Americans aren't a once upon a time and long ago people, that despite the brutality, the relocations, the thefts of land and culture and children, Native Americans survived and survive today. Survive they did, though of course uncounted numbers did not. Survive they do. Hundreds of federally recognized tribes, around 6.8 million Native Americans in the U.S. alone, that is to say, not counting the indigenous peoples in Mexico and Canada's First Nations people, who are all Native Americans too. While most of these hundreds of tribes and the ones no longer extant were nowhere near the misnamed and misstoried first Thanksgiving and the violence visited upon the Wampanoag and the Narragansett, all of them bear scars of the trauma of European conquest of this land, as indeed murder, rape, slavery, and disease were repeated again and again throughout the colonies and across the continent as the country spread west. Most, perhaps all, continue to be actively wounded by white supremacy culture. Poverty, high rates of addiction, lack of representation in media and elected government and education, lack of culturally competent health care, murdered and missing women, to name but a few of the scars and ongoing wounds. While all Native Americans have reason to reject Thanksgiving as a national holiday or a day of celebration, because they are not a monolith, A useful second step in decolonializing our own understanding and observance of Thanksgiving, beyond acknowledging that the first Thanksgiving never was, as we have repeatedly imagined it and told it. A useful second step is to slow down long enough to seek out and listen to several Native perspectives on Thanksgiving. I say slow down because I know we Unitarian Universalists like to get things right, to correct for past oversight and harm and willful ignorance, and to demonstrate our wokeness, and to do it all right now. Often in clumsy, partially informed, and heavy-handed ways. That's what I like to do anyway. I wanted to wade through the challenges and complexities of Thanksgiving, meditate on it all for a day or two, then give you a sermon with unthanksgiving and day of mourning all tied up neatly with thanks anyway on the tag, since that's how I titled it before realizing this year's sermon was going to be a little different. But hurrying through the hard stuff and haste born of shame almost always lead to further damage. Absent a coherent, restorative justice-centered theology of what Thanksgiving should or at least might be for Unitarian Universalists, what I have to offer are a few Native American perspectives, without analysis or interpretation on my part, on the holiday our country officially observes 4 days from now. From Malaya Kahale Chun, a Hawaiian mother, activist, cultural practitioner, and educator, writing during the resistance at Standing Rock. As for me, a mom on a tiny island in the middle of the Pacific, on the day Americans celebrate Thanksgiving, I celebrate Hawaiian Independence Day, and I think of my Native American brothers and sisters 3,652 miles away, fighting for what is sacred and essential to human survival, land and water, and I sharpen my spear and prepare for the pull and ache of ancestral obligation. From Jacqueline Keeler, a member of the Dene Nation and Yankton Dakota Sioux. In stories told by the Dakota people, an evil person always keeps his or her heart in a secret place separate from the body. The hero must find that secret place and destroy the heart in order to stop the evil. I see in the first Thanksgiving story a hidden pilgrim heart. The story of that heart is the real tale that needs to be told. What did it hold? Bigotry, hatred, greed, self-righteousness? We have seen the evil that it caused in the 350 years since: genocide, environmental devastation, poverty, world wars, racism. Where is the hero who will destroy that heart of evil? I believe it must be each of us. Indeed, when I give thanks this Thanksgiving and I cook my native food, I will be thinking of this hidden heart and how my ancestors survived the evil it caused. Because if we can survive with our ability to share and to give intact, then the evil and the goodwill that met that Thanksgiving in the land of the Wampanoag will have come full circle, and the healing can begin. From the website Native Hope, written 2 years ago, again in the middle of the Standing Rock resistance. Here at Native Hope, we hope that this Thanksgiving, the hearts of all people, Native and non-Native, are filled with hope, healing, and a desire to dismantle the barriers physical, economic, educational, psychological, and spiritual that divide us and oppress us. This time of year and these two holidays, Thanksgiving and Native American Heritage Day, give us the opportunity to reflect on our collective history and to celebrate the beauty, strength, and resilience of the native tribes of North America. We remember the generosity of the Wampanoag tribe to the helpless settlers. We remember the hundreds of thousands of Native Americans who lost their lives at the hands of the colonialists and the genocide of whole tribes. We remember the vibrant and powerful Native descendants, families, and communities that persist to this day throughout the culture and the country. We remember people like Sharice Davids and Deborah Holland, who in 2018 became the first Native American women elected to Congress. From Sean Sherman, the founder and CEO of the Sioux Chef, a member of the Oglala Lakota Sioux tribe. The thing is, we do not need the poisonous Pilgrim and Indians narrative. We do not need that illusion of past unity to actually unite people today. Instead, we can focus simply on values that apply to everybody: togetherness, generosity, and gratitude. And we can make the day about what everybody wants to talk and think about anyway: the food. People may not realize it, but what every person in this country shares and the very history of this nation have been in front of us the whole time. Most of our Thanksgiving recipes are made with indigenous foods: turkey, corn, beans, pumpkins, maple, wild rice, and the like. We should embrace this. No matter where you are in North America, you are on indigenous land. And so on this holiday, and any day really, I urge people to explore a deeper connection to what are called American foods by understanding true Native American histories, and begin using what grows naturally around us, and to support Native American growers. There is no need to make Thanksgiving about a false past. It is so much better when it celebrates the beauty of the present. From Simon Moya Smith, a citizen of the Oglala Lakota Nation, a journalist and activist. Thanksgiving is nothing less than an annual white victory lap. It's a celebration of aggressive Christian domination and imperialism. Any other description is PC. The holiday, as presented, is an affront to the inexorable truth and history as it occurred. Indeed, the Thanksgiving narrative belies the rape and murder and genocide that was committed against this continent's first peoples, men, women, and children. Instead of a day of gluttony and excess, the day should be reserved to honor Native Americans. Recognize that the U.S. committed incalculable atrocities against us because we weren't white Christians. Native Americans should be lauded for our continued resilience and fortitude. To bury the truth behind what Thanksgiving means to Native Americans does nothing but set us back as a country. It's time this nation faces the facts about its actions, its crimes, the ones they've committed and continue to commit. And from Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, American novelist and poet Sherman Alexie, an excerpt from his longer poem, Happy Holidays. I am asked this question at least a dozen times a year. Do Indians celebrate Thanksgiving? That's like asking, do Jewish people celebrate Oktoberfest? The answer is yes, Indians celebrate Thanksgiving. I just emailed a Jewish friend to ask her about her feelings on Oktoberfest, and she wrote, Never thought about it. No way I'd buy a BMW, though. The best thing about humans, our ability to forgive. The second best thing, grudges. About 70% white meat and 30% dark with canned cranberry sauce. And no, I don't care how good your homemade cranberry sauce is. Celebrate Thanksgiving as usual, or as usual as we can this year. No, thanks anyway. Can't do it any longer. Celebrate Thanksgiving with truth at the table, with confession and reparations, with courage and grace, storytelling and deep listening alongside the turkey and cranberries and wild rice and squash. Maybe someday we'll give thanks for that Thanksgiving. In the meantime, we've just started, listening to voices telling an honest story. For that, let us give thanks, bare and humble thanks, to those who tell the story and those whose murmuring called us to hear. Amen. We don't know how long this will last, worshiping on Facebook Live from the parsonage study, but each time we do, we'll take a look out the window and watch the landscape change. I invite you who know them to join now in speaking in unison the words for extinguishing our chalice. The flame has been doused. The fire of our community still burns. In this moment, we become beacons on the prairie, bearers of light and warmth until we gather again to rekindle our communal chalice. May we go forth from this time thankful for the life that sustains us and renews us, and open to the grace that surrounds and surprises us. May we go forth from this time with openness and with thanksgiving. Amen.